Hello, my Korea Overland brothers and sisters. How are you today? My name is Ben, and we are back for another Sunday video. That's right. As always, Sunday videos coming out to you at 4 p.m. KST. I hope you guys are doing awesome. Today, I don't have anything fancy-smancy going on. It's just you and me talking. That's right. There's going to be a few pictures popped up on the screen from time to time. And today we're going to talk about food. So jump right in and don't forget your coffee. I've been thinking a little bit about the upcoming camping season, not only for myself, but of course for you too, because that's just how nice I am, thinking out for you. And I wanted to talk about food today because obviously there are many different types of scenarios and situations that you might find yourself in. And what I did last summer, actually, to kind of experiment with cold storage was I bought a fairly large cooler from Costco. I think it was called Igloo something something. I don't remember. I'll put the name here. And I took 2-liter water bottles and filled them up with tap water, froze them for a couple of days, made sure they were nice and solid, and put 3 or 4, 5, 6, maybe 6. I think I did 6 water bottles inside the cooler, put the cooler out on my very hot balcony because it was in the middle of the summertime, and let it sit there for 2 days and just let it go, let it do its thing. Now, I didn't actually do any temperature checks, that sort of thing. It wasn't anything like that. But I wanted to see how long I could maintain a cool temperature inside the box. And after 2 days, I opened up the lid and lo and behold, it was still cool, which I thought was pretty darn interesting. And in fact, the 2-liter bottles of water still contained some ice in it, and a fair amount of ice in a few of them too, which I thought was really, really interesting. But this video is going to be a little bit different in that what happens if you are out and about doing your outdoorsy, overlanding, camping scenario, and you don't have access to either a cooler that will keep your food cool enough, or you just maybe don't have the room to bring a big cooler. How do you prepare your food in a way that does not require refrigeration? Because this is something that people obviously do. I mean, it is something that we need to consider as a viable option to maintain our nutrition over the course of the camp, eat well, eat healthy, and yet we don't need to worry so much about keeping food cool. What do we do? Well, that's what I'm here to help you resolve. Now, I'm sure you've done this before, but some of you may be new to the overland experience or the multi-day trip here in the peninsula, so I wanted to give this out to you. Now, what I've done for the sake of my scenario is create a 3-day, 2-night camping trip. Okay, a 3-day, 2-night camping trip. And ta-da! I have my notes all right there. And what I will do is I will just put pictures up on the screen, kind of running down on this side here maybe, or over here, just to show you what the items look like. Now, I had intended actually on going to an E-Mart or a Home Plus and actually record this video within the context of an e-mart. But two things. Number one, there's way too many people for me to do that. And I didn't want to have to worry about catching people on video if they didn't want to. And two, I do recall that eMart and Home Plus have a no video, no picture policy, which basically means I can't go in unless I'm actually a professional videographer and a company's coming in to do like a commercial or something. I can't go in and do that. So this required me to do something a little bit differently. So this is what I've done. So you're going to see pictures of the items, generally speaking, up as we go along. Now, starting off with day one would probably be an early morning start. You want to get going, you're excited, and you can basically eat anything for breakfast at home. Whatever you want to shovel into your holes, it's good to go, right? No problem. My recommendation would be something that's filling, right? You don't want to just have something light because you want to have the food in your body to kind of fill the hunger gap. You don't want to be, an hour into your drive and realize, oh man, I'm still hungry. I didn't eat enough for breakfast. So make sure you eat enough for breakfast, whatever that amount is for you, right? We're all different. We all eat different things. So that is one thing to consider. Now, for lunch, for your first lunch, so let's say you've made it to your campsite or you are having lunch along the way. Now, you could, if you were stopping at like a highway rest stop for lunch, then yes, you could go and do that. But here I'm considering the situation as though you have arrived already at your campsite. You have set your tent up and you're just kind of getting yourself organized. Bam, it's lunchtime. So what can you do? Well, this is one thing where you can have a very easily made lunch, but it's nutritious. So what I would recommend is getting tortilla wraps, right? You can buy those at eMart or Home Plus. And then you take your jar of peanut butter. My favorite is Skippy Chunky. And spread that over the wrap and then cut a banana and put a banana on the wrap and then roll it up and have it as a sandwich tube. These are great. They're so good. I would probably have 2 or 3 at least, maybe even more depending on how hungry I was. But these are really, really good to eat. The simple, and you don't need to store the items in refrigeration. Now, why is that? Well, because the tortillas are vacuum packed basically in the first place, and so you don't have to worry about the bread itself spoiling. Now, at least at the beginning, I'm going to caveat that. Now, if you do have leftover tortilla, which you might, if you're doing a solo trip, you might. If you're doing a family trip, you might not. So, caveat one is if you don't have any extra, bing bang boom, you're done, no problem. If you do have some leftover, my recommendation would be use this as snack food over the course of your first day. PB&J on there, wrap it up, and just eat them from time to time until, bam, your wraps are all gone. I think they come in packs of 10, and they're not, you can get smaller ones. So if you get a small pack of 10, that might be easier than a large pack of 10. But again, it depends on who you're going with. So that's my first recommendation. Now, first dinner. There's a couple of options here, and I'm going to give you my high-end option, and I'd be curious to know what you think about this. And this does require a little bit of preparation time before you get to your campsite. So this is something that you want to do at home before you leave. My recommendation here is a homemade pizza, and you can create your own dough at home and bring it with you in a container, and it's fine. You can just put it in a plastic bag and tie it off. And what this does is it allows the dough, and I've done this at home on multiple occasions, but it allows the dough to get a little bit sour. And I like that extra little flavor in the dough. So don't be afraid when you open it up and it has a little bit of a sour taste. Don't worry about it. Throw some flour in there, mix it up, knead it, and spread it out. Now, in terms of your cheese, now, because this is a first night scenario, I think that having some cheese, maybe some pepperoni is probably going to be okay. I don't think it's going to cause any problems. You're not going to have any spoilage, but you don't want to bring a lot of cheese because you're not going to have refrigeration, and therefore that cheese might go bad. So you just want to have enough to put on your pizza. Now, you could have a non-cheese pizza as well, and you could add things like tofu crumb. Like you could put a tofu crumb on it, which is actually pretty good. That's also an option. Or you could go with a non-dairy sort of cheese as well, which means that you might incur less spoilage if you were really worried about that. You can bring some vegetables for yourself. Just cut them fresh right up there on the at camp. You might want to pre-cook the vegetables and then take them and put them on the pizza. Your onion, your green peppers, red peppers, your mushrooms, all of that stuff can be pre-cooked on the pan, then throw them on the pizza. Now, the baking of the pizza requires something a little bit different. In fact, you know, if you've got this stuff, great. If not, you might want to switch out this one. But you're going to need some kind of cast iron pan with a lid in order to make this happen. Because what you're going to do is you're going to use the cast iron as an oven. You would put down some parchment paper on the bottom of the pan. You'd put your pizza on top of the parchment paper, and you can either turn on your gas burner. You turn on your gas burner to heat the inside first, then put the parchment paper down, then put the pizza in there. Probably 10 to 15 minutes, and you're good to go. The other option is if you have a kind of a portable fire stove, you know, something like what I've showed you before here on the channel. You can use something like that where you have flame coming up from the bottom, but you can take some of the coals that you have and put them on top of the lid to actually have heat coming from the top and the bottom simultaneously. So that takes a little bit of finagling. If you've got that extra equipment, great, it's awesome. I would not recommend using a stainless steel pan or an aluminum pan for something like that. You want to have something thick as a pan surface to reduce your potential burning. That's just you know, it's just something that you want to keep in mind there. Okay, so we've done our first day, great. Breakfast on day two. I really like having hot oatmeal in the morning, even in the summertime. It's just something that fills me up. It makes me feel good, reminds me of being back home. So yeah, that's what I would have. I would also include things like sliced apple, cinnamon, honey or brown sugar, maybe some raisins or some chopped nuts all in there to make a really nice hot oatmeal for yourself. And of course, I'd go with drinking coffee. Duh, of course. Why would I not? A morning coffee when you're camping? Hello, it's the greatest. Okay, so there's my breakfast. Now for lunch. Lunch is interesting as well in the fact that we're going to use tuna wraps. Now, if you have any wrap left over from the previous PB&J or PB and banana sandwiches, you could probably hold out for 24 hours and have a tuna wrap, and you can use the leftover wraps that you have. I think 24 hours should be okay. Put them in a sealable container. I think they should be okay. And you can get tuna that is in a foil package, not canned, okay? Not canned. Get it in a foil package and get the tuna that is in water, not oil. There's another little hint for you. So tuna with water, not tuna with oil. With this one here, you can add in extra herbs, salt and pepper. You can bring in some celery stalk and you can chop that up. A great other little snack for yourself is celery and peanut butter, because you've already got the jar of peanut butter there, and whoop, it's awesome. And so mix that up and then just spread that out over the wrap, roll it up, and boom, you've got a nice protein fix for yourself. I would also recommend in this lunch apples and oranges. Oranges are going to stay pretty good for a day. Apples as well. They're going to be warm, of course. It's not like they're highly refrigerated, but apples and oranges would be awesome. Apples in the apples in the summertime are probably going to cost you more than oranges will. But if you want to kind of have a different fruits during this time, apples and oranges, I think, are a great way of doing it. Another thing that you might want to try is honeydew melon or cantaloupe. Those are other things that you could probably keep for a 24-hour period outside. I mean, in order to ripen cantaloupe or melon, you have to have them non-refrigerated anyway, so I don't think 24 hours is going to be a big deal. Cut those bad boys open and just yum, yum, yum. So that's lunch for day 2. Dinner for day 2 is going to be rice and curry. Now, you can get all sorts of pre-done curry packages where you don't have to create the curry yourself. These are really, really good, and this is what I would recommend. And you can just you can just put the put the curry mix. It usually has some vegetables and meat already in it, and you just add 1 or 2 of those, add some water, put your rice in there, boil it down slowly, and you've got a really, really nice curry. You can, if you want, bring in some condensed milk if you want to put that over top of your curry and kind of cream it a little bit. That is also a possibility. For me, I'm going to stay away from the condensed milk. Now, another thing for that dinner is you might want to start off with or might want to have some kind of dried soup mix. This can be really good because you want to make sure when it's hot that you're intaking salt to allow the water that you're drinking to be absorbed properly. You need to have both of those. So having something that has a little bit of a higher salt content, like a dried soup, might be very good. Now, you could use a ramen, of course, that's fine. It's whatever you have on hand or whatever you would like to have yourself. So those are a couple of dinner options for night number 2. Moving right along for day 3. Day 3 would be, for me, would be pancakes and maple syrup. Like, there's just no question. Pancakes on a griddle while you're camping is just Jeff's kiss, as Kevin Smith says. So yeah, I absolutely would go for that one. You can buy kind of like plastic bottles that already have the powders in it. You just add water, shake it up, and pour. So it's very easy. And then, of course, maple syrup, you can buy a little thing of maple syrup for yourself and you should be fine there. Day three lunch. And I forgot, of course, the day three morning coffee. Of course, that just goes without saying. Um, the lunch on day three. This would be before I would leave. All right, so before the camp is taken down, this would be what I would have. Similar to the tuna packets, all right, that come in the foil, you might find chicken that is also in the wrap as the containers as well. Now this stuff here you can actually just eat as is. You can just eat it from the packet. It's just chicken. Um, but what you can also do is take a can of beans and put that into the pot, and then take the chicken and put the chicken into the pot as well and mix it up. So you have, not only do you have a high protein, but you also have a high fiber lunch. Just in case you get a little bit constipated over the course of the last couple of days. Who knows? It could happen. Those baked beans, they'd probably help you out a little bit. Now you've got your camp packed away and you're ready to leave. Off you go. And for dinner or a mid-afternoon sort of meal, you might want to stop off at one of the many highway stops that you can get some decent food with. I will leave that up to you, whatever you would like to have. I prefer the pork cutlet myself, dongas, cheese dongas with a little bit of rice and salad and stuff. So that's nice as well. Now, the last thing I want to talk about here is the snacks, and there's a whole host of different snacks that you can have while you're out camping. I would recommend things that are definitely not going to spoil. So, trail mix. You can buy the little packets that have individual servings. Those are okay. However, they're really plastic intensive. So I don't like to do that. I would much prefer to buy a big container of something, and that way it's just one instead of all of the little foil packets. Too much garbage. But dried nuts and dried fruits, great options. Pineapple, mango, dates, figs, all of those things are really great for snacking, and they're quite filling as well. You could also have something like a nachos with salsa. Salsa is going to be in a sealed jar anyway, so you might have 2 or 3 jars of salsa with 2 or 3 bags of nachos. That's something that you can crunch and munch throughout your time. I would also recommend things like carrots. Carrots are an easy food to bring with you. They don't require refrigeration for long periods of time. I think you'd be okay for a day or two having the carrots out. Peel them, chop them up, munch them away. I'd also bring, for me personally, I'd also bring things like olives, green olives, black olives. They can be used for the pizza, but also they're in their own brine, so you don't need to worry about them being refrigerated for long periods of time. And again, with the salt, with the nachos and the olives, you're taking in that extra salt to keep your water being properly absorbed into your body. All right. So that's what I have for you. This is food. This is what we can do. It's awesome. Just get out there and look around. I would suggest going to your local eMart or Home Plus or wherever you are happening to be in the world and just go around the aisles slowly. Just keep going back and forth and look at what's there for yourself. You're bound to find things that you don't need that don't need to be refrigerated, and that will be a great addition to your camping journey. Now, the last thing that I will mention is you could go with freeze-dried or dehydrated food, like the stuff that I've got here or wherever I'm going to put it. Those are great options, but personally, those are great if you're doing a multi-day hike. I think those are awesome. If you're going car camping, you can bring them, but I don't think it's necessary. I think bringing your own food and cooking at the camp itself rather than just boiling and bagging it, I think it just adds to the whole experience. That's just a personal thing. Of course, those meals, some of those meals do taste really good, and you might want to throw one of them in for yourself. But do remember that those meals are about $10 to $15 a piece. They can be kind of expensive, especially if you have to get them shipped over from the US or Canada. So please be in mind, be aware of that as well. Okay, we have done food. Now, it's time to edit. All right, I'll see you guys later. I hope this video has been helpful. I am going to do another video that is vegan or vegetarian only. So stay tuned for that because I haven't forgotten about you. All right, do take care of yourself. Have a great week. I'll see you next Sunday. And remember, live life well. Take care, everybody.